Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, and here we are back for another one of our Warhammer The Old World videos, continuing the Empire faction focus, looking at the heroes now in episode 2, how they played in 8th edition, to give us an idea of how they might play in Warhammer The Old World, albeit with different rules. First up is a captain of the Empire, above average weapon skill, ballistic skill, leadership, low wounds and initiative. Lots of choice for equipment there, hand weapon and light armor with the same choices as you'd find for a general: hand weapon, great weapon, lance, handgun, longbow, pistol, shield, heavy armor and full plate armor. They can also be mounted on a Pegasus or a warhorse, but not the Griffin this time, and they may also be the battle standard bearer, and they come with the same special rule as the general. The heroes by and large mirror the lords in that a warrior priest is overall more useful than a captain. However, the option to take the battle standard bearer does make it a more interesting pick, as he can take a magic standard and there's no points limit. Now that could massively buff a unit of greatswords, for example. As with the general, I keep him cheap, put him on foot in a unit, and really only spending significant points on the magic standard, with the remainder small points upgrading his armor, so full plate armor and a shield, for example, but I wouldn't bother with all the extra weapons, magic items and so on, keeping it most of the points for that magic banner. And you can see actually the box the models came with the option to build a general and a battle standard bearer. This is the box. That was kind of what was on the front of the box, if I remember correctly. That was the battle standard bearer that came there. You could build him on foot, and you could obviously modify the general on the warhorse as well, or you could swap them over if you wanted. That is our captain of the Empire. Next up is the Battle Wizard. So yes, the same as the Battle Wizard Lord, just however this one is a level 1 or 2, can only be mounted on a warhorse this time, so it's a good support caster, plenty of choice of the laws. We said before about life, shadow and death being the best options, and to be honest, it meant not taking any of the big mounts in the Battle Wizard Lord. As with the Lord, the basic Battle Wizard is better protected being inside a unit than being mounted on a warhorse. I always took at least one Battle Wizard, even if taking a Battle Wizard Lord. It's great to have that extra magic, and also the fact that you can then take maybe 2 different laws of magic as well, so just giving you that flexibility. But the law that you choose, although you can still, it's got that flexibility of tailoring it to how you want to play your list, and what is contained in your list, what buffs you're looking for, what damaging spells you're looking for. So Battle Wizard Lords, absolutely excellent choice, mainly because they've got such a big choice of laws as opposed to in terms of having excellent stats or special rules. It's more about their flexibility and the fact that actually they're not very expensive. A single Battle Wizard coming in at 65 points. Next up is the Warrior Priest. Warrior Priest here, average weapon skill, ballistic initiative and high leadership. Same equipment as you'd find for the Arch-Elector, so he gets the additional hand weapon, great weapon, heavy armor and shield options. Can only be mounted on a warhorse, so you can't put him on a war altar now. He's got the same special rules with the battle prayers, the divine power and the righteous fury. He's another good hero pick. He's the same price as a Battle Wizard. And it's not unusual to have a couple of these in an army list. So, that's 130 points instead of an Arch-Elector who's 100 points. So, you could have 2 Warrior Priests which give the same special rules, which i.e. is the buffing of the unit for 1 leadership less. You could have 2 of these for only 30 points more than an Arch-Elector. So, it's definitely feasible to have either a couple of Arch-Electors and then a bunch of wizards, more likely a single Arch-Elector, single Battle Wizard Lord, and then a couple of Battle Wizards and Warrior Priests would be absolutely viable in an army, given the buffs that you need, both in terms of leadership and support casting to an army. That would be pretty common on the tabletop in an Empire army. Master Engineer, then, we saw him briefly as part of the last episode, looking when we looked at the mount, which is the mechanical steed. He's got good leadership, but he does have low wounds, initiative, and attacks. Hand weapon wise, he does get a lot of interesting things, which are pretty much straight from the Imperial Army and not seen in other army lists. So he gets a grenade launching blunderbuss, for example. He gets the Hochland long rifle, pigeon bombs, repeater handgun, repeater pistol, and light armor. Maybe mounted on a mechanical steed or warhorse. Now, he does have 2 special rules, and there's no surprise on what they buff. Master of Ballistics. A war machine in 3 inches can use his ballistic skill and re-roll 1 artillery dice. However, if that is used, he cannot shoot with his weapon if this rule is used. So, yes, maybe you might include him with something like a Hochland long rifle, something with a bit of range. Maybe you would go for something that was a bit more damaging, but at closer range, just to protect the war machine. But, the war machine, you're not getting the benefits of him if he's shooting with his weapon. He also gets Stand Back Sir, which may use the Lookout Sir rule if within 3 inches of War Machine. To be honest, he's fairly cheap at 65 points if you keep him unmounted, but taking him would definitely be army list dependent. More useful for those gunline style army lists with multiple war machines to get the best out of rules. If you've only taken 1 war machine and it's destroyed, he becomes relatively useless. Though being able to mitigate misfires is very useful. But if you've got, 2, 3, 4 war machines, which, was not uncommon in an Empire army, definitely worth thinking about taking an engineer. Like I say, that ability to mitigate a misfire on a war machine was incredibly useful. But overall, keep him cheap. If you had that many war machines, maybe even take 2 and just keep them as cheap as possible, which is absolutely viable. Okay, coming on to the final hero of the Empire, which is the Witch Hunter. Medium weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness with high leadership, low attacks and wounds. Equipment is a hand weapon, pistol, light armor with options for a brace of pistol and a great weapon. Now, it does come with magic resistance too. He gets Accusation, which is choose a single enemy model before the game starts, and the Witch Hunter re-rolls hits, gets Killing Blow, and can use the sniper rule against that target. That's not bad. Grim Resolve, he's immune to fear and treats terror as fear, but does not auto-pass the terror leadership tests. And Tools of Judgment, attacking wizards, undead, Nehecaran, or demonic in close combat. Okay, so another cheap hero is 50 points. He's not a bad choice, but he can be a little bit situational. So normally you might take him if you had points to spare, but overall you're probably going to focus more on your warrior priests and your wizards. They are the higher priority pick. You can see a classic old version of a Witch Hunter up here. However, there are some new models that came out along with Age of Sigmar, which is the Van Densts. These are great models. It comes with the 2 of them. I believe it's father and daughter, if I remember correctly. They look awesome. Are really, really good new miniatures and make really good witch hunters. So, I think there's some good options there for witch hunters in terms of miniatures, but certainly in the 8th edition, taking one bit situational, I'd probably be, as it says there, your higher priority is taking your warrior priests and your wizards. They're just more flexible and more beneficial overall. So there you go. That brings us to the end of our Empire Heroes episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If it was informative for those that haven't played a long time, as a refresher, or for those that haven't played Warhammer Fantasy at all but are interested in Warhammer The Old World, giving you an idea of what sort of units were in an Empire army list and what the models look like or may still be available, or new versions that are available today. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't know, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more content, please hit that subscribe button. It is totally free for you to do. Means a huge deal for me, so thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Owl. Tune back in for the Empire core units, and there are quite a few.